Hello, and welcome to Dad Doesn't Have Time for This. A show review things quickly and compare them to everything else in existence. Today, I'm going to talk about the anime All You Need Is Kill, which I saw in theaters. I know normally this is where I put up a poster, but this time I'm going to show you a ticket stub because I saw it in theaters and it was a lot of fun. But we will also put up the poster right here for you to see. It's a wonderful poster. The art is great. I love this movie. It was a lot of fun. So, for those of you who don't know, All You Need Is Kill is the anime based off the manga that the Tom Cruise movie The Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, was based off of, which was a terribly named movie but an incredibly excellent movie from Tom Cruise, one of his better films. And this film is a very different take on that, whereas the Tom Cruise film was the 300... No, The Edge of Tomorrow was the 226th best film of all time. This one is only the 320th. So, what's the difference is how are they different? How is one better than the other? So, the Tom Cruise movie, as you all probably know, is about a guy who's working in the army in this like mech division fighting these aliens, and he gets killed only to be reborn over and over and over again. And every time he dies, he gets reborn because of reasons. And then there's a girl who helps him train up, and he eventually becomes like the super soldier, awesome guy. The movie's a lot of fun. It's very well paced, very well done. It's just an excellent action sci-fi film. This one is similarly done, but instead of being a war, it's a research colony where they're researching this giant thing that showed up in the middle of Japan. And they're like, what's this thing? They research it for about a year, and then after a year of sitting there doing nothing, eventually a bunch of monsters pop out and start killing people. So instead of being well into the war, this is the beginning of the invasion. And it's a story of how a girl can stop the invasion from killing everyone and save the world. So in one, you've got an existing war that's going on, whereas this one's the beginning of the initial onslaught of the war and stopping it from happening in the first place. So it's an interesting contrast between the two. The Tom Cruise movie is much more of an action adventure, fast-paced kind of film. This one gets a little bit more emotional, a little bit more introspective about like what this person's going through. They suffer from depression because after being killed off 100 times, you start to get a little depressed and feeling defeated. In the Tom Cruise film, there is a person who used to have the power, but then lost the power, and then he gained the power. In this film, however, there's just two people who are given the power, and eventually they meet up and team up and try to defeat the monsters. And I'm going to have to probably go into spoilers here. So in the Tom Cruise film, they save the day, yay, everyone's happy. In this film, it turns out that the aliens are actually trying to absorb people in order to make itself stronger. And in the process of that, one of the characters nobly sacrifices themselves to save humanity. But unlike most Asian films, this one still has a happy ending. I'm not going to spoil how the happy ending works, but there's still a happy ending despite someone sacrificing themselves to save humanity. I think All You Need Is Kill does a little bit better job of like emphasizing like the brutality of like having to face these things, whereas the Tom Cruise movie, it's more of like a Groundhog's Day kind of like, oh shucks, let's try again. This one seems a little bit more harsh. Really love the art. Thought they did a great job. It's an interesting style. Studio 4C, they do a lot of like contract work for others. They're not typically doing their own thing, but in this one they are, and I think Studio 4C did a bang up job. The animation looks great. I watched the dub because I am lazy. It was also the only showing at the time I was able to go, so it worked out that way. And the dub cast does a good job. No complaints. Solid. Pacings. I think the reason why I liked Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow so much better is that the pacing is just a little bit... It's just... The pacing is just better. It handles the flow of things, and it just keeps going and keeps you into it. This one, the pace, there's a couple spots where the pacing just doesn't quite feel as fluid. and you just find yourself going, kind of questioning why they made some of these decisions, and it doesn't quite flow as well. It's hard to describe. Time loop and time loop movies, especially over time travel movies, are hard to do right because there's an essence of repeating that, if not handled carefully, can get tedious. And this one just has a little bit of that going on, whereas Edge of Tomorrow, I never felt like it was tedious ever. This one is a couple times I was like, oh, they could have tightened this up or worked it a little bit better. But despite that, I still had a lot of fun with it. I'm glad I saw it. And let me know which version you prefer, Edge of Tomorrow or All You Need Is Kill, or the manga, which I haven't read, but maybe someday, you never know. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.